There are gods you pray to, and then there are gods you fear. These are not the benevolent, kind deities who bless crops and answer prayers. No, these are the gods who demand blood, who punish betrayal without mercy, and whose anger brings disaster. They are the gods whose names are whispered in fear, the ones who do not forgive. Their stories have been passed down for generations, terrifying those who dare to defy them. And today, we're diving into the 5 most feared gods in Nigerian mythology. But beware. Some say even speaking their names carelessly can bring misfortune. In the heart of Nigeria, mythology is not just ancient folklore, it is alive. The gods of old still hold power in the minds of millions. Some are worshipped in temples, others are feared in silence. From the Yoruba and Igbo to the Edo and Hausa, the gods of Nigeria have long shaped the destiny of those who serve them and those who betray them. In a land where spirits roam, where the supernatural is woven into daily life, these gods are more than just myths. They are forces of nature, delivering justice, vengeance, and sometimes death. While many outside Nigeria may dismiss these tales as superstition, locals know better. Some say they've seen the signs: mysterious deaths, sudden lightning strikes, and inexplicable accidents. Coincidence, or the wrath of gods long forgotten? And here's where things get even darker. While some of these gods strike down only the wicked, others do not discriminate. They take what they want, when they want. They demand sacrifice. They test loyalty with deadly consequences. And they do not tolerate disrespect. Those who have crossed them tell chilling tales of misfortune, of families wiped out overnight, of warriors falling to unseen forces, of entire villages erased from existence. This is not just a history lesson. This is a warning. To this day, people still make offerings, hoping to escape their wrath. Some gods demand animals, others require human blood. And if you think these are just myths, then consider this. There are still places in Nigeria where people refuse to build because the gods claimed them long ago. So if you think these are just old stories, think again. Because the last god on this list is said to have the power to erase an entire bloodline overnight, and once its curse is upon you, there is no escape. Stay till the end, if you dare. Ogun is not just a god, he is a force of destruction and creation. The Yoruba people revere him as the god of iron, but his domain extends far beyond mere metal. He is the god of war, the guardian of justice, and the deliverer of vengeance. His name alone sends shivers down the spines of those who understand his power. Ogun is a warrior god, an entity that demands blood and loyalty. Those who call upon him do not do so lightly, because once Ogun's blade is drawn, it does not return without tasting blood. According to Yoruba mythology, Ogun was the first Orisha to descend to earth. When the world was young and covered in dense wilderness, the gods faced a problem. There was no way to reach the land. The thick forests were impenetrable. But Ogun, armed with an iron machete, was the one who cut through the earth's chaos and carved a path for civilization. He is the reason roads exist, the reason metal can be shaped into tools and weapons. Without Ogun, humanity would remain lost in darkness. But his gifts come at a price. Ogun is not merciful, nor does he tolerate weakness. He is a god of warriors, blacksmiths, and hunters, those who work with iron and those who spill blood. Ogun is also deeply connected to warfare. In ancient times, warriors invoked his name before battle, smearing their weapons with animal blood as an offering. It was believed that a warrior who fought under Ogun's protection would be unstoppable. But there was a cost. If they ever abandoned the battlefield in cowardice, Ogun himself would strike them down. This belief was so strong that warriors often preferred death in battle over the shame of fleeing, fearing Ogun's wrath more than the enemy's sword. The reason Ogun is feared is simple. He does not accept disloyalty. His followers pledge themselves to him through blood oaths, and breaking such an oath leads to horrific consequences. Worshippers of Ogun offer sacrifices, dogs, rams, and in the past even humans, to keep his favor. But should anyone betray an oath sworn in Ogun's name, there is no escape from his wrath. Legends tell of oathbreakers who suffer violent, gruesome deaths, their bodies found mutilated beyond recognition. Some even say that those who betray Ogun will have their blood turn black before they die, a final sign that the god has claimed them. One terrifying story speaks of a man who swore an oath in Ogun's name to repay a debt. When he refused, he was found dead in his home, his throat slit as if by an unseen blade. Some say he died by his own hand, controlled by Ogun's unseen force. Others believe Ogun sent an invisible warrior to execute him. Ogun's hunger for blood is not limited to humans. Even his followers fear him, knowing that if they fail to honor him properly, he may turn against them. In many traditional Yoruba festivals, Ogun's priests cut themselves with blades and swords, proving their loyalty by showing that the god protects them from harm. Some even drink a mixture of palm wine and gunpowder, believing it makes them immune to death. But the slightest misstep, the smallest act of disrespect, could lead to a violent end. His influence is still felt today. Many blacksmiths, hunters, and warriors honor him before using metal tools or weapons, believing that failing to do so invites misfortune. In some places, drivers pour palm wine on the road as an offering to Ogun before long journeys, hoping for safe passage. His shrines are often marked with iron tools, weapons, and the skulls of past sacrifices, a reminder that Ogun's hunger for blood is never-ending. Ogun's presence is also feared in the world of traditional justice. In Yoruba culture, when people swear an oath in court, they sometimes do so in Ogun's name. It is believed that anyone who lies under Ogun's watchful eye will die a terrible death. Many criminals refuse to take an oath before Ogun, knowing that even if they escape human punishment, the god's vengeance is inescapable, and his wrath is not confined to the past. Even in modern times, there are mysterious deaths linked to Ogun's curse. Some say that people who desecrate his shrines are met with sudden, inexplicable accidents, car crashes, industrial mishaps, or fatal falls from great heights. Metal itself is Ogun's domain, and if he is angered, he can turn tools and weapons against their owners. There are even whispers that Ogun still chooses warriors in the modern world. Those who are fearless, who live by the sword, who refuse to bow to anyone. These are the ones Ogun favors. But his favor is dangerous. If Ogun chooses you, you must never show weakness. You must always be ready for battle. Because if you ever betray him, if you ever abandon the path of the warrior, Ogun will come for you himself. He is not just a god of war, he is war itself. And those who stand in his way do not live to tell the tale. Amadioha, the vengeful thunder god. There are gods of war, gods of iron, gods of the underworld, and then there are gods who judge from the heavens. Amadioha is one of them, and he is not merciful. He is the Igbo god of thunder, lightning, and divine justice, a being so feared that his name alone is used as a curse. Many call him the Nigerian Zeus, but this comparison barely scratches the surface. Unlike Zeus, Amadioha does not seduce mortals, nor does he waste time with tricks and riddles. Amadioha does not forgive. If you are guilty, if you are corrupt, if you have wronged the innocent, his lightning will find you. Unlike other gods who send messengers or require priests to carry out their will, Amadioha acts immediately. His punishments are swift, direct, and final. He does not wait for temples or prayers. He sees all, and when the time is right, he strikes. Many who live in fear of him say that you will never hear the thunder before it is too late. If you have angered Amadioha, you will not know until the sky opens and your fate is sealed. Amadioha is more than just a bringer of storms. He is justice itself. In ancient times, people who had been wronged would call upon him to prove guilt or innocence. If a person swore an oath under Amadioha's name and was lying, they would soon be struck down. It is said that his lightning never misses its target, and when it finds its mark, it does not leave a body behind, only ashes and smoke. The most chilling part? Amadioha does not need a reason to strike. While he is known for punishing wrongdoers, he also tests the faith of his followers. If a village neglects its duties to him, if a family forgets to honor his power, or if a single person speaks his name in vain, his wrath can be unleashed. Entire villages have been wiped out by lightning storms that came from clear skies, leaving nothing behind but burned huts and charred earth. Witnesses to these disasters do not question nature. They know exactly what happened. Amadioha was angered, and he answered. Those who fear Amadioha take extreme precautions to avoid his fury. Some never speak his name out loud, while others perform rituals before thunderstorms, hoping to prove their innocence before the lightning falls. Traditional priests in Igbo communities still offer sacrifices in his honor: white goats, rams, and sometimes chickens, believing that his hunger for justice must be fed. But even those who do not worship Amadioha respect him. In parts of Nigeria, oaths are still sworn in his name. A person accused of a crime may be forced to declare their innocence before Amadioha, knowing that if they lie, they will not survive the next storm. The power of this belief is so strong that even criminals refuse to swear falsely when his name is invoked. It is said that many people, after swearing under Amadioha, have died under mysterious circumstances: lightning strikes, unexplained accidents, sudden sickness. Whether one believes in divine justice or not, the pattern is undeniable. Even in modern times, people speak of Amadioha's presence. Some say they have seen figures in the clouds, a glowing face in the sky just before a storm. Others believe that certain individuals are chosen by him, marked to serve as his voice on earth. There are whispers of people being possessed by Amadioha's spirit, their eyes turning white as they deliver prophecies and warnings. One of the most terrifying legends of Amadioha tells of a corrupt village chief who stole from his people, hoarding wealth while his people starved. The villagers, powerless to stop him, called upon Amadioha in desperation. Days passed, then weeks. The chief laughed at their prayers, but on a night with no rain, thunder shook the sky and lightning struck his home. Witnesses claim that fire engulfed his body, yet his house remained untouched. The next morning, his body was gone, and all that remained was a blackened mark on the earth. The villagers knew then Amadioha had answered. To this day, Amadioha's shrines remain and his followers continue to offer prayers, hoping to remain in his favor. Some say his wrath has faded, that his influence has weakened in the modern world. But the sky still rumbles, the lightning still strikes, and when justice is needed, Amadioha is still watching. So the next time you hear thunder without rain, the next time you see a flash of light from the heavens, ask yourself, was that just a storm? Or is someone being judged? Because Amadioha does not warn, he does not forgive, and when he comes for you, you will never see it coming. Isu, the trickster who controls fate. Esu, also spelled Eshu, is not a god you worship for blessings. He is a god you respect out of fear. Many mistake him for the devil, but Esu is far more complicated than that. He is the master of chaos, deception, and destiny, a god who does not serve good or evil, but instead ensures that both exist in balance. To some, he is a guardian of fate. To others, he is a relentless trickster, a force of nature that can turn fortune into disaster in an instant. Unlike other gods who rule over elements like fire, war, or thunder, Esu rules over something far more dangerous: choice. He stands at the crossroads of human life, deciding whether a person's path leads to success or ruin. One day, he may open doors for you, guiding you toward wealth and happiness. The next day, he may slam those same doors shut, leaving you in chaos and confusion. He is the test that never ends, the voice in the shadows, the whisper in your mind asking, "What if?" Esu is the messenger of the gods, the one who delivers prayers and sacrifices to Orun, the divine realm. But here's where things get dangerous. If you fail to offer Esu his due, he may block your prayers from reaching the other gods. Imagine begging for mercy, pleading for wealth, calling for protection, only for your words to never leave the earth. But it gets worse. Esu does not simply punish those who anger him, he toys with them. In Yoruba mythology, he is known to test humans constantly, placing obstacles in their paths just to see how they will react. He may bless a beggar with riches, only to watch them lose it all in a single day. He may curse a man with poverty, only to see if he will still show kindness. Esu's trials are unpredictable and no one is safe. Not kings, not priests, not warriors. And if you think you can ignore him, think again. Esu is one of the few gods who does not tolerate being forgotten. Unlike Ogun, who demands blood, or Amadioha, who strikes without warning, Esu's punishments are slow, chaotic, and merciless. Those who disrespect him or fail to acknowledge his power often find themselves drowning in a never-ending wave of bad luck. A farmer who forgets to offer Esu his share of the harvest may wake up to find his crops mysteriously withered overnight. A traveler who walks past Isu's shrine without paying respects may lose his way and wander for days, trapped in an endless circle. A merchant who cheats his customers may find himself robbed blind by unknown forces, losing everything he ever stole. Even today, many Nigerians take no chances when it comes to Isu. It is common practice to leave offerings at crossroads, small gifts of palm oil, kola nuts, and tobacco. Some do it out of tradition. Others do it out of fear. No one wants to risk offending Isu. There are still stories of people who mocked the old ways, laughing at the idea of a trickster god, only to suffer immediate misfortune. Some lost their jobs. Some fell sick for no reason. Some were never seen again. One chilling story tells of a wealthy man who refused to acknowledge Isu, believing himself above the old gods. Despite warnings from his elders, he mocked the idea of fate, saying, "I am the master of my own destiny." That night, a mysterious stranger appeared at his door, offering him a golden staff as a gift. The man took it without question, thinking it was a sign of his greatness. But the moment he touched it, everything changed. His business collapsed, his family abandoned him, and within a week, he was left with nothing but the staff in his hand. It was only later that he realized the truth. The stranger was Isu in disguise. He had been given a test, and he had failed. Isu's influence extends far beyond Nigeria. In Brazil, Cuba, and Haiti, where Yoruba traditions survived through the transatlantic slave trade, Isu is still widely honored. In Santeria and Candomblé, he is known as Elegua, the guardian of doors and crossroads. His followers still perform rituals to keep him happy, believing that an angry Isu can bring unimaginable disaster. But what makes Isu truly terrifying is this: he never truly leaves. Unlike other gods who remain in their shrines, Isu is everywhere, watching, testing, waiting. The next time your life takes an unexpected turn, the next time you lose something valuable for no reason, the next time you find yourself at a crossroads unsure of what choice to make, ask yourself, is this fate or is Isu playing with me? Because when Isu tests you, there is no escape. Sango, the god of fire and lightning. Some gods are worshipped for their kindness, some for their protection. But Sango, he is feared for his wrath. The Yoruba god of fire, thunder, and lightning, Sango is one of the most powerful and unpredictable deities in Nigerian mythology. Unlike Ogun, the god of iron and war, or Esu, the trickster who plays with fate, Sango is pure, uncontrolled power. His rage burns hotter than the sun, and when he is angered, the sky itself answers. Before he was a god, Sango was a mortal king, ruling the Oyo Empire with unmatched strength and supernatural abilities. Unlike ordinary rulers, he could summon lightning with his bare hands, breathe fire from his mouth, and command the heavens to strike down his enemies. But his power came at a cost. Sango was known for his fiery temper. He was quick to punish, and even quicker to destroy. Those who crossed him never lived to tell the tale. His legend tells of a king who grew so powerful that even the gods took notice. But Sango's pride became his downfall. Some say he challenged the gods themselves, seeking to become their equal. Others say he was betrayed by his closest allies, forced to flee his kingdom in shame. In a final act of defiance, Sango called upon the forces of the storm, summoning thunder and fire to consume everything in his path. Then he vanished into the heavens, becoming something far greater than a king, a god of unstoppable fury. Why is Sango feared? Because he is a god of destruction, a force of nature that cannot be tamed. His anger is legendary, and it is said that those who insult or disrespect him will suffer his wrath in the most terrifying way possible. They will be struck by fire from the sky. This is not just a myth. Stories exist of people mysteriously catching fire with no explanation. In some cases, lightning has struck the same place multiple times, as if hunting a specific person. Coincidence? Or proof that Sango never forgets an insult? Worshippers of Sango do not take chances. His rituals are intense, and his punishments are swift. Unlike other gods who demand simple offerings, Sango's followers have been known to perform drastic and dangerous ceremonies to prove their loyalty. Some participate in firewalking rituals, believing that Sango's favor will protect them from being burned. Others tell stories of those who angered Sango and burst into flames, their bodies consumed by fire with no warning. One particularly terrifying legend speaks of a man who mocked Sango, claiming the god's power was a lie. That very night, a mysterious fire consumed his home, reducing everything he owned to ashes. Witnesses swear there was no natural cause, no candles, no lanterns, no explanation. The only thing left untouched was a statue of Sango, standing perfectly intact among the ruins. But Sango is not just a god of destruction. He is also a god of power, courage, and kingship. Many rulers still invoke his name, believing that his spirit grants them strength. In some Yoruba communities, it is said that Sango chooses his descendants, marking them with his fiery energy. These individuals are believed to have unnatural charisma, a burning intensity that commands attention and respect. Some families even claim to have Sango's blood running through their veins, and they guard his legacy with unwavering devotion. Even outside of Nigeria, Sango's influence has not faded. In places like Brazil, Cuba, and Haiti, where Yoruba traditions merged with other African and indigenous beliefs, Sango is still widely worshipped. In Candomblé and Santeria, he is known as Sango, and his followers honor him through drumming, fire rituals, and trance-like dances. Some even claim that Sango still walks among us, appearing in visions and dreams, warning of danger or delivering messages from the gods. But whether you worship Sango or fear him, one thing remains certain. His power is real. Every bolt of lightning, every fire that burns without reason, every storm that comes out of nowhere could be a sign of his presence. So the next time you hear thunder rolling in the distance, the next time you feel the air crackle with energy before a storm, ask yourself this: is this just the weather? Or has Sango been angered once again? Because if his rage is upon you, there is nowhere to run. Ogbanje, the spirit that curses families. Not all curses come from gods. Some come from something far more insidious, a spirit that is born into a family only to bring endless suffering. Unlike the gods of fire, thunder, and war, the Ogbanje is not one single being. It is a collective force of malevolent spirits, spirits that have only one goal: to torment families with loss, grief, and despair. The word Ogbanje comes from the Igbo people of Nigeria, and it describes a child that is born only to die young, repeating the cycle again and again. When an Ogbanje dies, it does not stay dead. Instead, it returns in the next child born to the same mother, causing a never-ending cycle of heartbreak. The parents may rejoice when a new baby arrives, but deep down, they live in paralyzing fear, wondering, is this child truly mine? Or has the Ogbanje come back to torment me again? Unlike ordinary spirits, the Ogbanje is believed to have conscious intent. It chooses its victims. Some legends say these spirits were once powerful entities that refuse to pass on to the afterlife. Others believe they are vengeful souls, cursed to return and repeat their suffering through different bodies. Whatever their origin, one thing is certain: they exist to break families apart. The most terrifying thing about the Ogbanje is that it does not appear evil. When it is born, it looks like a normal, healthy child. It may even be beautiful, intelligent, and full of promise. But no matter how much love and care is given, the child falls sick suddenly, wasting away without explanation. Doctors cannot save them. Medicine does not work. And then, just as mysteriously as they came, they die. For families trapped in this nightmare, fear becomes a way of life. They may try again, hoping for a different outcome. But soon, another child is born. And within months or years, the pattern repeats. The same birthmarks, the same facial features, the same eerily familiar habits. It becomes clear: the Ogbanje has returned. To break the cycle, desperate families turn to rituals and ancient traditions. The most common method is scarification, marking the body of the deceased child with deep cuts before burial, hoping to make it unrecognizable in the next life. It is believed that if an Ogbanje returns and sees the scars on its new body, it will abandon its mission of torment. But sometimes this is not enough. For the most powerful Ogbanje spirits, simple scarification does not work. These spirits carry a sacred object hidden somewhere near their family home, a stone, a charm, or a buried relic that binds them to the cycle of reincarnation. This is known as the Uwa, the object that ties an Ogbanje's spirit to the mortal world. Until this object is found and destroyed, the child will keep returning. Traditional healers, known as dibia, are often called to hunt down the Uwa. These rituals are long and dangerous, sometimes taking days as the healer communicates with spirits, searching for clues about where the object is buried. When it is finally found, the ritual must be precise, burning it, crushing it, or casting it into running water, ensuring that the Ogbanje can never use it again. Failure to perform these rituals can have terrifying consequences. There are stories of families who ignored the signs, dismissing the idea of Ogbanje as superstition, only to lose child after child, generation after generation. Some even claim that entire bloodlines have been wiped out, cursed by an Ogbanje that refuses to leave. Even today, belief in the Ogbanje remains strong. In some Nigerian communities, newborns are still carefully observed for signs of an Ogbanje spirit. A child who suffers from unexplained illnesses, strange behaviors, or a deep fear of traditional rituals may be suspected of being one of them. Some families still consult spiritualists before giving birth, seeking protection against these spirits before it's too late. There are even whispers that the Ogbanje is not just folklore, that it may have connections to modern medicine. Some researchers believe that the cycle of birth and death associated with the Ogbanje may be linked to genetic disorders or hereditary diseases. Could it be that the ancient stories were a way of explaining real medical phenomena? Or is the Ogbanje truly something supernatural, a force that science can never explain? But whether you believe in the myth or not, one thing is undeniable: the fear of the Ogbanje still lingers. Every mother who has lost a child too soon, every family that has suffered multiple losses, every community that whispers about children who come and go like ghosts, they all know that some things cannot be ignored. So the next time you see a child who seems strangely familiar, a child who behaves as if they remember another life, a child who vanishes too soon, ask yourself, was that just fate, or was it something else? Because the Ogbanje never truly leaves. It always returns. Nigeria's mythology is filled with gods and spirits that command respect and inspire fear. These deities are not just characters in ancient stories, they are forces of nature, their influence still felt in modern times. We've explored 5 of the most terrifying and powerful entities, each with their own domain of punishment, vengeance, and control. Ogun, the bloodthirsty god of iron and war, demands loyalty at any cost. Those who betray their oaths sworn in his name face violent, brutal deaths, their blood turning black before they perish. His thirst for sacrifice remains unquenched, and those who wield weapons or tools must honor him or suffer the consequences. Amadioha, the vengeful thunder god, strikes down liars and wrongdoers with lightning. He does not send messengers, he acts instantly, ensuring that justice is served with a terrifying display of power. To this day, people swear oaths in his name, fearing the consequences of deceit under his watchful gaze. Esu, the trickster and master of fate, is neither good nor evil. He is the ultimate test of human nature. He decides whether fortune or disaster will shape your path. Ignore him, disrespect him, or fail to make the proper offerings, and you will find yourself trapped in a web of endless misfortune. Sango, the unstoppable god of fire and lightning, was once a king, but his rage turned him into a legend. His punishments are swift and terrifying. Stories tell of those who mocked him only to burst into flames. His worship continues across the world, with followers still calling upon his fiery strength and divine wrath. And then there's the Ogbanje, the spirit that torments families, returning again and again to steal the lives of children. Even in modern times, people still believe these spirits lurk, hiding in the bodies of newborns, ready to repeat the cycle of death and suffering. Now that you know about them, which one do you fear the most? Or are you brave enough to challenge their wrath? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more chilling tales of gods, spirits, and mythology, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. There are many more stories to tell, but beware, some legends are more than just myths. See you in the next video, if the gods allow it.